Tyreek Hill suffered a gruesome knee injury early in the third quarter of the Dolphins' Monday Night Football clash with the Jets, an injury that changed everything. Not just for the game being played under the lights that night, but potentially for the entire course of Miami's season. It was one of those moments that started like any other play and ended with a collective gasp, a stadium holding its breath, and a superstar lying on the ground in pain. It had been a humid Miami night, the kind of evening where the air feels heavy and every breath tastes like salt and electricity. The stadium had been alive from kickoff, with fans waving aqua and orange towels, chanting, stomping, and creating the kind of noise that makes Hard Rock Stadium one of the toughest venues for visiting teams. The Dolphins were locked in a tight battle with the Jets, both teams fighting for crucial position in a competitive AFC playoff race. Every play mattered. Every drive felt like it could swing momentum. Tyreek Hill had already been doing what he does best, slicing through defenses with almost impossible speed, turning short passes into big gains and forcing the Jets' secondary to backpedal on every snap. By halftime, he had 6 catches for 67 yards and looked like he was just heating up. The Dolphins went into the locker room energized, and when they emerged for the second half, fans were ready to see Hill explode for one of his signature game-breaking plays. The third quarter began with Miami's offense on the field, moving the chains with crisp passing and creative play calling from head coach Mike McDaniel. Then came the play that would change everything. It was a simple concept, a short pass designed to pick up a few yards and keep the drive alive. Tua Tagovailoa took the snap, quickly read the coverage, and delivered a strike to Hill on the left side. Hill secured the ball and turned upfield, preparing to make one of those sudden cuts that has made him famous. Jets cornerback Malachi Moore, who had been shadowing him most of the night, closed in fast. What happened next played out in seconds but will be remembered for a long time. Moore went low, aiming to wrap Hill's legs and bring him down cleanly. It was a textbook tackle attempt, but Hill's foot planted at the exact wrong moment, and as Moore's weight came down, Hill's left leg twisted violently underneath him. The knee bent in a way that no joint should ever bend, even in real time. It was clear something had gone very, very wrong. Hill collapsed instantly, letting go of the ball as he grabbed at his knee. He didn't try to get up. He didn't even roll over at first. He just lay there, his face contorted in pain, pounding the turf once with his fist before clutching his leg again. The referee blew the play dead as players from both teams signaled frantically to the sideline for medical help. The stadium, which had been roaring seconds earlier, went silent. There is a particular kind of quiet that falls over a stadium when a serious injury happens. Not just a lull in noise, but an eerie, heavy hush, as if the entire crowd is holding its collective breath. Fans stood frozen in place. Some put their hands over their mouths. Others clasped their hands together as if in prayer. The players on the field gathered around their fallen peer, some kneeling, some pacing, some simply staring down at the scene unfolding before them. The Dolphins' medical staff sprinted onto the field, equipment in hand, followed by team doctors. They reached Hill quickly, speaking to him calmly as they began their assessment. Trainers checked the stability of his knee, gently pressing and feeling for damage. Hill grimaced, turning his head away, clearly in significant pain. Within moments, they signaled for the cart. That signal, so small but so significant, sent a wave of dread through everyone watching. A player of Hill's caliber does not get carted off for something minor. As the medical team worked, several Dolphins players stayed close, forming a kind of protective circle around Hill. Tua Tagovailoa removed his helmet and held it at his side, staring down at his teammate with visible worry etched across his face. Jalen Waddle, Hill's partner in Miami's dynamic receiving duo and one of his closest friends on the team, crouched nearby, his gloved hand resting on Hill's shoulder. Across the field, Jets players also knelt, their competitive instincts momentarily forgotten. In moments like this, it doesn't matter which jersey you're wearing. Everyone understands the gravity of seeing a fellow player suffer. Minutes passed, though they felt much longer. The television broadcast cut between shots of Hill on the ground, concerned teammates, and the quiet crowd. The commentators' voices were subdued, almost reverent. One of them remarked softly that football was a game of inches. But nights like this remind you that it is also a game of human lives and bodies, and that every snap carries risk. When the cart finally arrived, Trainers carefully stabilized Hill's left leg with an air cast to prevent further injury. They spoke to him as they helped him onto the cart, making sure he was as comfortable as possible. The stadium began to applaud, the applause growing louder until it became a standing ovation. It wasn't celebration, it was support, encouragement, love. Fans chanted his name, Tyreek, Tyreek. And through the pain, Hill managed to lift one hand and wave to the crowd. It was a small gesture, but it mattered. It let everyone know he was conscious, aware, and still fighting. The cart slowly rolled toward the tunnel, and several Dolphins players walked alongside until they reached the sideline. Some tapped the cart as it passed, a silent show of solidarity. When Hill disappeared from view, the camera caught Waddle on the bench, head down, towel draped over his shoulders. Moments later, the Dolphins' PR staff released an official statement. Hill was being transported to a local hospital for imaging, evaluation, and observation. There would be no further update until tests were completed. It was the kind of statement that provided information but no comfort. Everyone watching knew that this could be a season-altering injury, maybe even career-altering depending on the diagnosis. As play resumed, the atmosphere felt completely different. The Dolphins' offense struggled without its most explosive weapon. The Jets' defense played with renewed energy, sensing an opportunity. Every shot of the Miami sideline showed players with faraway looks in their eyes. Head coach Mike McDaniel tried to rally his team, clapping and talking to players, but the emotional toll was obvious. Social media exploded. Prayers up for Tyreek Hill trended worldwide within minutes. Former teammates, current stars, and fans from every corner of the NFL world sent messages of support. Patrick Mahomes tweeted, "Praying for my brother Achita tonight, hoping for good news." Other stars like Travis Kelce, Jalen Ramsey, and Stephon Diggs shared similar sentiments. Fans posted clips of Hill's best plays, his jaw-dropping touchdowns, his record-breaking runs, as if collectively willing him to recover. In living rooms across America, fans sat quietly, waiting for updates, refreshing their phones for news. Parents explained to their kids what had happened, why everyone was suddenly so quiet. It wasn't just Dolphins fans who felt the blow. Hill is one of the league's most electrifying players, someone whose presence makes every game more exciting. The NFL is simply better when he's on the field. Inside the locker room after the game, players spoke softly to reporters. Some were visibly emotional. Others simply shook their heads. "That's our brother," one lineman said. "You never want to see that happen to anyone, especially not a guy who means so much to this team." Coach McDaniel kept his comments brief, saying that Hill was undergoing tests and that the team would provide updates as soon as possible. "Right now, our focus is on supporting Tyreek," he said. "Football comes second to making sure he's okay." Medical experts on sports networks began speculating about the nature of the injury. Some suggested it could be a torn ACL or MCL, injuries that typically require surgery and months of rehabilitation. Others hoped it might be something less severe, though the use of an air cast and the immediate cart transport didn't inspire optimism. As the night wore on and fans left the stadium, the energy was subdued. There were no celebratory chants, no music blasting from car stereos in the parking lot. It was as if the entire fan base was collectively holding its breath, waiting for the next update.